Yo, what is good? You're watching another episode of Simple Black Theory React. I'm your host, Ohaji Free, better known as Simple Black Theory. And today we are reacting to Tim Pool versus, I believe it's 20 progressives. Last time I saw the title of this video, I believe they were pushing the idea that Tim Pool was a moderate. To be honest, the videos that I watch of him don't seem moderate. But whatever, whatever they want to say. We're gonna see what he says. We're gonna probably fact check. We're gonna see what other people are saying, and we're gonna enjoy this reaction. Guys, if you actually like my reaction videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Show some love. I am going to be working on more podcast episodes. You know, this is a lot more thought process. When I speak from the heart. You know what I'm saying? I speak from the heart. So I have to make sure every episode is meaningful for me. So that's why it's taking a little longer, but I am going to get on track in doing this. Reaction videos is pretty easy to do right now. We got some setups. As you can see, the camera is better, right? So I'm really excited for this episode. I hope you guys really learn something here. And this is going to be like a real reaction. So let's see if we could debunk some myths and see if Tim Pool knows what the he's talking about. You heard? So let's get it started.
A lot of politicians on the Democrat side who got behind authoritarian practices during COVID. I'm not going to support those individuals.
So, but the authoritarian practices today, you're willing to look past.
Some of them, yes.
Come on, man.
And this is the moderate.
Mainstream political left.
And this is the moderate.
More violence than the mainstream political right.
None of what you're saying makes any sense. It sounds like
It
you're
does.
honestly grifting a lot.
You can say that
Let me
there's
ask you a
civil
question.
war every fucking year and it doesn't happen. And
I
you're gonna
never
say
said
it just
there
hasn't
was.
happened yet.
Do you want me to get you a
I'm just saying,
soapbox?
it's really
I can leave.
easy.
You want me to
It's really
go?
easy to
You want me to
do
leave?
what you do.
You know, I did hear in this episode he does walk away, so we're about to find out that's true or not. But but it does seem like Tim Pool is stepping into like the danger zone. But yeah, so let's see what happens. And let's see if Tim Pool knows the fuck he's talking about. I said this before.
Is the United States tracking towards civil war, or is America more united than it seems?
Guys, before we start this, I need people to understand that every time they talk about a civil war happening in America, it's always based on a race war. They always see it as a race war. That is right-wing propaganda. And people that push that are usually in the right. So if there's any discussions on this and they try to say it's the left, it's not true, because the people that's going to be really pushing these type of things is the right. But whatever, let's just see what the hell they're talking about.
Hi everyone, I'm Paris Rose, and I'll be filling in for John today. From Jubilee Media, this is Surrounded,
This is my first Jubilee
where
reaction,
one
by
brave
the way.
soul faces a room full of disagreeers. Today we're debating which political party is more violent. Is authoritarianism on the rise in America? And have both parties abandoned their oath to the Constitution? I'm here with our featured guest, moderate political commentator, Tim Pool.
Hi, I'm Tim Pool. I'm the host of Timcast IRL, and today I'm surrounded by progressives.
I don't know why I don't like him. I just looking at him, and one might be like, well, he is a cracker, sir. So maybe you just don't trust crackers as soon as you meet them. And it's just like, well, there's a hint of truth, because I do believe that America is inherently racist, and those who benefit from America are inherently racist. You have to be wary of these type of things. But I would also say that he just looked like somebody I don't like. To be completely, and I have a good sense of character. Like I have like that sixth sense, but with character, I could be like, yeah, I don't fuck with dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's him. Maybe, I don't know. Looks like a lumberjack. Not an insult. And I like lumberjacks.
My first surrounded claim is that the mainstream left commits more violence than the mainstream right.
If you'd like to be the first...
What? That's not even true. Now, what I would say in this video right now, that the mainstream left, or the left in general, I don't care, has an uprise of violence. It has been recent, but historically and statistically, we know that the right is more violent. In fact, I believe there's I think the New York Times posted this, where they said that during Donald Trump's rallies, there was an increase of hate crimes. In fact, hate crimes are usually majority right related. You know what I'm saying? Like Islamophobia, racism. All of this is the engines of the right, which majority, and I'm not gonna say majority of people on the right are white supremacists. That's not true, but I believe that the majority of the right has, maybe y'all are white supremacists, to be honest. Maybe that's not fair to say, but I have to talk to you. But right now, so I'm like, you feel me? The cracker senses is tingling.
Debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Sammy,
How's it going? Hey.
Great to meet you, buddy. How
Likewise.
you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
There seems to be like a broader implication with your prompt that there's this domestic threat from mainstream left politicians. Like, do you really think Hillary Clinton's like leading the Vanguard Revolution Party? Like,
No.
What is your take?
When you look at the violence that we do see, it's from, I describe it as from blunt to acute, which is with the fringe extreme right, you'll see extreme mass shootings. You'll see, someone will show up and they'll unload on people, things like that. On the left, though, you'll see riots, vandalism that you don't see from the right. But the point I'm making is that when you break down the ideology,
January 6th? January 6th, guy. What the fuck is you talking about? Like, if anyone wants to talk about the George Floyd protest, which was a riot, first of all, a lot of those things that happened was also initiated by the right. There actually is proof of people from white supremacist groups initiating riots during these peaceful protests. In fact, majority of these protests were peaceful. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna mention the George Floyd riot. And to be honest, like January 6th, what else was a right terrorist attack? The attack on the CDC with the COVID-19 BS, that was recent. I think that was 2025 or 2026, by the way. But that just doesn't make any sense. And then there's no politicians are not out here unless you're Donald Trump. Donald Trump and a few other politicians are the ones that are saying the most radical shit.
That motivates individuals that commit political violence. There is more often an overlap between what the Democratic Party espouses ideologically and what we see in street-level violence, as well as maybe assassinations, versus what the Republicans would espouse.
I mean, I couldn't disagree more. What ideologies that the Democratic Party is promoting that leads to these types of violence? Anytime you see an act of
I like this dude.
Violence that's typically attributed to the left, it is immediately condemned by every Democrat politician.
Indeed.
You couldn't point to one that actually endorses that. Where you have somebody like Donald Trump, who's literally the president of the United States, saying that we should call for the death of congressional members who are fulfilling their civic duty and saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't fulfill.
Now I'm debating if I even want to do this reaction because Tim Pool's argument doesn't make any fucking sense. Because how does he says it's the left when Donald Trump has says numerous authoritarian shit? Like at one point, then he said that he wishes his administration was similar to the man with the mustache. Can I say Hitler here? I'm saying that like I have a group of producers behind me. Like no one's behind me. Okay. Oh, I forgot. I can even make this motherfucker big. Wait, I can talk to you. I can actually talk to you. But here's what I'm trying to say. Doesn't make sense to even watch this because we have Donald Trump who says the most outrageous shit, the most authoritarian shit, and you're saying that the mainstream left is pushing it when we see the right's pushing it, and more importantly, Republicans are pushing it. So I just don't understand where's his argument, and for some reason I specifically remember that he was considered a moderate, right? Like I know the title had him as a moderate. So maybe they try to change it because he don't look like a fucking moderate in this video, because there's no way you can sit there and talk shit about the left when the right has Donald Trump spewing this shit. I mean, literally there's historical evidence of hate crime increasing when there's Donald Trump rallies and when he becomes president. But fuck it, right? The left is the most radical.
Illegal orders if you're in the military, and Donald Trump's asking for them to be put to death. How is that not inciting to violence?
No, that's absolutely terrifying. I completely disagree with that.
This nigga's agreeing with the person he's debating, but he's supposed to be the one basically saying that the left is the most radical ones, while the president of the United States, which is a right Republican, conservative Republican, is saying the most radical shit. Whatever. I'm dumb.
My point more so is that when you see, say, the George Floyd or the BLM riots, you end up with Biden and Kamala themselves promoting fundraisers for those accused of committing these crimes. During
Which
these riots,
crimes?
Donald Trump tried to give a slush fund for his January 6ers. This is why I don't understand. Why is he talking? Why is this man talking? if you're complaining that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden try to fund the people that did these riots, which I don't even think is true, which I can look into later to check out. But even if that's true, which I believe it isn't, we have Donald Trump who tried to do the slush fund. In fact, like, they didn't even want to Donald Trump's lawyer couldn't even been couldn't even continue his process of becoming part of the administration. I forgot where he was trying to be. I think he's secretary, attorney. I don't remember. But whatever. Like, they didn't even want to go through the process for, I think it's Todd Blanche, right? They didn't want to go through the process of Todd Blanche because they was afraid of the slush fund bullshit that he was doing. Because he was going to pay January 6ers. But you're complaining that possibly, which again, I don't believe, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden was going to pay rioters. I don't know.
Which crimes could you point to?
So in Minnesota, you had there was a firefighter who opened a sports bar. It was burned down. In fact, when the local news went to interview him about his dream bar being burnt to the ground, it was ransacked. I don't think it was burned to the ground. They while they're filming the story, there were people looting a safe and stealing it.
Well, I guarantee you that motherfucker has insurance. That motherfucker has insurance, and guess what? His insurance is gonna pay for it. January 6th is the damages to the Capitol. Guess what? Who has to pay for it? Us. Like, come on, what the fuck is you talking about? We're in a war with Iran. Donald Trump is trying to bomb a whole country that he claimed because Israel told him so. The fuck is you talking about? We're talking about a Christian nationalist. Listen, right? A lot of people talking about Islamic extremists, right? Like the Houthis and the rebels and shit like that. Being crazy, right? And these people deserve to get condemned. I don't fuck with them, obviously, right? But these people are authoritarian. I can't even say that fucking right? Authoritarian, right? That's Donald Trump. He's trying to make this a Christian nationalist country, right? Donald Trump is not as radical as Islamic extremists, but he's trying to implement the same shit that Islamic extremists are trying to do. Yet y'all complain about Sharia law, but we have Oklahoma implementing Bible verses in their fucking studies. But then we also have teachers AIing pictures of the fucking United States of America map. Why do you need an AI photo of America? Holy fuck, we're lost. We're fucked. Guys, hold up. Do you understand what I'm fucking? We're fucked. Like, but whatever. Let's continue with this bullshit.
I think that there's absolutely a big difference between a lot of the private buildings or private enterprises that were targeted versus like public institutions like the police precinct. Like, you're somebody who, I've seen the iconography on your show. You're a big patriotic guy. You love 70.
Burn the police precinct. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the police. Oh my God, he said fuck the police. Defund the police. Abolish the police. Abolish the prison system. Abolish all that shit. Oh, how are I gonna fix it? Look at me. Look at me when I tell you this. Hold up. Look at me when I tell you this. Abolishing the police and prison system. You hear what I fucking said? System. The system of the prison and the system of policing. That's what abolishing the police means. It doesn't mean abolish punishment. It doesn't mean abolish accountability. Motherfucker, the reason why you can't see it is because we never fucking had it. You know what I'm saying? The reason why you're bitching about abolishing the police is because you've never seen what it looks like to abolish the police. I'll make a video on that. That might be a new podcast episode. Boom, 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 boom. Look, you notice podcast episode coming through. But yeah. Yeah, well, whatever this nigga was talking about. Let's get back to it.
1976, right? That wasn't the most peaceful way that we had, criticizing our government or saying that tyranny shouldn't exist.
How long was the Revolutionary War
going
on before they signed the Declaration?
I will say.
The Revolutionary War was, I'm not gonna lie, I think I did Google this recently because I was actually learning a few shit about this. I think it was 8 years, right? I think the Revolutionary War was 8 years that lasted.
Say that the police precincts, the same people who committed a brutal murder using state violence in order to justify that, I think we can understand why people would rightfully be mad without any accountability.
Which political party is in control of the police department in Minneapolis?
That is not the central. First of all, we're talking about the mainstream political left. Which politicians are endorsing that type of behavior?
Never said politicians were endorsing it.
Then what?
What the fuck is he talking about? First of all, Democrats cannot control the police. You know that, right? Like what the fuck are you talking about? And you're mentioning Minneapolis, but what about red cities? Wouldn't you say they control their police officers as well? I don't know what the fuck is he talking about. Like, are we saying that because Minneapolis police is in a blue city that Democrats run the police the police precinct? We can say the same thing in Utah. I don't know much cities. I'm pretty bad at geography. But like, I don't know what the fuck he's going with this.
The mainstream left.
So you have activists whose ideology aligns with politicians who are
You'd
courting
say that those
votes.
activists identify with the Democratic Party, the
No,
ones that
I
are
would say
committing
that the
violence.
Democratic Party courts
Because let
their
me tell
vote.
you, the leftists that you could talk to, not the biggest fans.
He's not lying. Democrats do court the left's vote. That's pure fact. Just like how Republicans court the right's vote. But what we also need to understand is that currently, right now, as we speak, Democrats are having some type of infighting with extreme progressives, or I would say progressives in general, and established Democrats. They're fighting within each other, trying to figure out how far they can get with going left. But the right is basically doing the same fucking thing. Donald Trump was as close to the extreme right as you can get with politicians. Maybe we have someone more further right than he is. Maybe he will be the furthest right president that we ever had. But nonetheless, Donald Trump is one of the furthest things to the right as a politician that we've seen in a long time. So I forgot where I'm going with this. Oh, yeah. So the right will also be courting, Republicans will also be courting those right. That's why we see a lot of white nationalists, a lot of white supremacists, a lot of homophobes, a lot of transphobes, all of those people supporting Republicans. And that's a pure fact. I mean, there's numerous times where there's KKK adjacent or even white supremacist groups doing things during things where Donald Trump is calling for more people to show up. Recently that we've seen for the Patriot shit. I forgot what it was. Whatever. Let's continue. I'm blah blah.
The Democratic Party.
Am I making sense though?
Black Lives Matter.
I would say yeah. I'd say even most moderates. I'd say actual moderates, not right-leaning conservatives who claim to be moderates.
Were the riots
usually
based
those
off
people
of,
also agree that police violence is something that should be discouraged.
Were the riots Black Lives Matter motivated?
They were motivated.
No. First of all, the protest was motivated by the death of George Floyd. Black Lives Matter is a whole movement that's signifying that the fact that black people are losing their lives in general. But this movement, not the movement, those protests was mainly for the fact that George Floyd died. And we've seen this numerous times when there's a brutal effect on any community and there's usually a big protest that happens. And you're talking about the left doing riots. Like I said, historically, the right has been known for doing violent things. We know Red Summer of 1919, where white people attacked black people because they were established. We had the New York riot when rich people didn't want to go into the Civil War, and poor Irish people. I don't think it was Irish people. I just know it's white people. That's what I know. Poor white people started killing people in New York because they didn't want to fight for black people, which y'all didn't fight for black people. Excuse me, sorry. Drinking a lot of soda. Black people fought for themselves. Get that fucking right.
By Black Lives Matter. So that ideology.
But yeah. But Black Lives Matter was a huge movement, but the protest was initiated because of George Floyd's death. So there was a huge movement, but those protests was incited because of the death of George Floyd. Which I honestly do believe that we need to start having these protests without people dying, just to show. We need to make sure that Black Lives Matter is always a thing. Like we should do these protests because of Black Lives Matter, not because someone's dying or someone died. If that makes sense.
Is espoused by
no.
So my point is
Black Lives Matter is not encouraging violence. Black Lives Matter is recognizing systemic inequality.
Never said
where
they were telling people to go be violent. I'm saying
what are you
that
talking about?
there
Yes,
are
you did.
violent individuals, and with the riots, a lot of them, which we've seen.
Can you tell me
how
who
about this?
Tell me who Chris Ray is. Do you know who Chris Ray is?
Explain it to me.
Well, you have a show talking about politics every day. I would think that you know. But Chris Wray was the former.
Let's not do this. If you have a point to make, let's make a
yes,
point.
Sir.
Let's
yes,
not try
sir.
and play
Yes,
these
sir.
games.
So Chris Wray was the former FBI director under Donald Trump's first term.
Yep.
He said that he even agreed with the findings from both the congressional research session that right-wing violence is way more proliferate in
But we're
this
not
country
talking
than
about
left-wing
that.
violence.
That's not
That
meaningful
is.
to a voter. Let me explain. The Republican Party rejects neo-Nazism, correct?
No, Donald Trump.
Yo, he doesn't even know what he's arguing. You guys, audience, those who's watching, on top, what it say? The mainstream left commits more violence than the mainstream right. He's still talking about Democrats and Republicans when it should already be established that Democrats and Republicans do not represent the mainstream left or right. In fact, if there's any violence coming from both sides, more than likely it will be coming from Republicans and mainstream right. But when it comes to the left, the mainstream left or even the far left don't really care about these politicians. They actually think they're crooked in some way. I'm part of the far left. They are crooked. And I made videos talking about why. Whatever. I don't care. But let's talk about this. It just doesn't make any sense what you're talking about. The focus is on the mainstream left and mainstream right. When we say mainstream left and right, we're talking about more people who are radical or well, I guess maybe you could say, we'll see, because when I think mainstream left, I think of like the most left ideologies close to socialism and communism, and Democrats don't represent that. There's a fraction of Democrats that do, but then you have to mention that fraction, and even that fraction didn't cause any of these problems that is happening. In fact, they got more notoriety, or they're more known now because of the election that's currently happening. But yeah, whatever.
Trump invited Nick Fuentes to have dinner with him, with Kanye West.
So tell me one politician who went out and campaigned for the neo-Nazi vote.
I'm blanking on his name, but Gozar in
Is that a
in
mainstream
Arizona.
view in this country?
Well, we could talk about Gozar. We could talk about Matt Gaetz. We could talk about.
Matt Gaetz is not endorsing neo-Nazism, and Donald Trump
Are
said
you kidding me?
Nazis should be condemned entirely.
No, he is literally partnering.
I think the left should stop throwing neo-Nazis out so much when it comes to talking to the right, because not everyone in the right is neo-Nazi, but then you have an easier chance of calling them Christian nationalists, which I think is just as bad as neo-Nazi, because with neo-Nazis it's obviously authoritarian and fascism in there, and Christian nationalism can be equated to that. Neo-Nazis were terrible because they had a way of living, and they wanted to push that amongst the country that they were in, and they wanted to remove those who didn't abide by those understandings or look like they could abide by those understandings, if that makes sense. And that's what Christian nationalism do. So instead of saying that these people are neo-Nazis, we could say that they're Christian nationalists, and maybe we need to make that a bad thing. Maybe that word has to be just as bad as neo-Nazi. You get what I'm saying? Like Donald Trump has a lot of comparisons to Mustache Man. Can I say Hitler? I'm gonna say it. A lot of comparisons to Hitler. January 6th is similar to Hitler when he attacked, I believe, his capital. It failed. I think he went to jail for like a little bit and then left. But there's just a lot of comparisons. But yeah, I would definitely say that saying neo-Nazi is okay, but I think saying Christian nationalist matters more.
With the America First movement, he was
America
chosen
First and neo-Nazism are totally different.
bro. So you don't think do you think Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi?
I
forgot you've had him on your show.
Yeah,
I
see,
wouldn't
like these people.
I wouldn't
can-
describe Nick
can
Fuentes as a
can
neo-Nazi.
say no.
You don't think that
denounce
Nick
neo-Nazi
Fuentes
if they want.
celebrating Adolf Hitler is not neo-Nazi adjacent?
I think you have to be very specific on what your terms are. And so when you go to an American voter and
What?
say something like,
This is our moderate, by the way, everybody. This is
Oh,
our
so he was a moderate here. He was the moderate. Holy fuck.
moderate.
indeed.
Keep going.
So when you go to a regular American and ask them what is meaningful
He is
to
getting
them in
fried
terms
in the
of an
chat.
election,
He is getting fried.
you don't have Democrats or Republicans endorsing violence. But you also don't have, Charlie Kirk's a good example. He threw out Nick Fuentes, he threw out white identitarians, white nationalists from his events. They were not welcome.
He's a Christian nationalist, and Charlie Kirk, fuck him. That nigga was a white nationalist too. What the fuck is you talking about, bruh? Like, that man spread hate. The thing is, he acted. Obviously, it's all about optics. You can preach white nationalist shit and preach it as America first, while removing those people who spouts racism. Obviously, like, the smart man who's racist is not going to be around full-blown racists. He's going to have undercover racism, where you have to debunk that shit. That nigga was, and for you to be a moderate and use Charlie Kirk as an example, prove you're not a fucking moderate. Which is why am I watching this? Why am I watching this? This makes no fucking sense. Whatever. My homie Santana's here. So you feel me? That's why support.
That's mainstream. You don't have riots coming from the Republican Party and the right, although you do have January 6th and things like that.
Oh, he meant
when you take a look at the shootings of the Tesla facilities, the execution of Aaron Danielson, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and one of the attempted assassinations on Donald Trump, not the Pennsylvania one, you can
not the Pennsylvania one. Why? Because it doesn't fit. Like you can't pick and choose. And then again, there's been a few right-wing attacks. There's a few attempts where I believe somebody was trying to start a race war a couple years back. I think 2022. We also had the shooting in the CDC where a lunatic shot the CDC because he didn't trust him. And that's based on right-wing politics. And then I'm trying to remember another one. I had the tip of my tongue, but nonetheless, like, there's been a ton of right-wing attacks and hate crimes, like, to some extent, are terrible, like, can be considered terrorism, to which ones you're talking about.
See, the underlying ideologies overlap with the Democratic Party. When you take a look at, like, Nick Fuentes, he's opposed to the Republican Party. He's been actively endorsing Democrats right now.
He's been saying that the Republican...
He's a joke. You guys don't understand what the fuck Nick Fuentes does. Nick Fuentes says shit for clicks. Anybody can do it. The right does it all the time. The left doesn't do it that much. I mean, I would say the someone who says the crazy shit is Hassan Piker, right? Says shit to get people mad. That, right? People would say me too, but when I say shit that I actually mean. I'm not trying to get you niggas mad. Y'all niggas just get mad. While those on the right, maybe Hassan Piker might be doing the same thing. He might be saying the shit that he means, and then y'all niggas just get mad. Which more than likely is true, right? But nonetheless, the people on the right just do shit to get people mad. We seen this Enes Kanter, freedom in his balls, right? Like, Enes Kanter, freedom in his balls because it's basketball. No, that's lame as fuck. I really try to make a good joke. I try to make a joke like he has balls in his mouth. But then I'm like, that's aggressive. And I just said it here. Let's continue.
The Republican Party is too left for him. It's not that he's opposed
That's
to the
my
Republican
point.
Party in principle.
This is literally my point.
No.
Yo, freedom in his balls. Like, yo, that's funny because if you really think about it, I gotta do big screen for this, right? Because these niggas are like they claim they're trans but they're full blown with testosterone. In fact, like these niggas, I'm hearing people on the right are actually taking testosterone, like hormones, right? Like what trans people would do, right? Like these men would do it. So like I that's like put them freedom in your balls, right? You trying to be a man, right? Fuck out of here, nigga. You're losing testosterone because you're getting old. The fuck? I'm sorry, that shit pisses me off. P. Hegseth, P. Hegseth, I think Donald Trump is trying to be unrestricted with testosterone for men. Oh, what? You mean to tell me that gender affirming care fucking matters now? But when trans people were asking for it, y'all said fuck no? We're seeing a whole bunch of trans people having to go to the fucking courts to get their fucking insurance to cover their gender affirming care? And then y'all talking about, oh, that trans people don't do nothing. We're getting you gender affirming care. I'm not saying that, the trans community, I'm not saying the trans movement it push gender affirming care for cis people. But what I am saying is the advancements of gender affirming care has been advanced by trans people. Sorry. I have a problem with staying on topic.
Nick Fuentes comes out and says, do not vote for Trump. The mainstream Republican
when
Party
you-
is at odds
Wasn't
with
a
these
nigga wearing a
people.
MAGA hat?
Again, if you're looking at all of the empirical data, the violence is way more on the right.
But
so
that's not
you
the
can say
claim.
what your feelings are. You
That's
can
not
say
my
that.
feeling nor the claim.
No,
it is
that-
not meaningful to a voter to say we don't like neo-Nazis and white supremacists because the
It's
Republican
meaningful
Party
to say.
is not saying
It's
they want a
meaningful to
white
say.
America.
Let's be objective of where the violence is coming from, and if it's more substantially coming from the right, that is a problem that
But
needs to be
it's
tackled.
not coming from Charlie Kirk.
Okay,
who
we're
was
not
killed.
talking about Charlie Kirk. We're talking
No,
about
we
the
are
overall
we are
ideology.
not.
Charlie Kirk out here telling. First of all, he can't even name a politician that told people to actually do violence. Like, because I can make the argument that Charlie Kirk has instilled violence and hatred towards people, but you're saying he doesn't. Which again, I don't know why the fuck is he a moderate. I'm glad they changed the fucking title, but that doesn't make any sense. If Charlie Kirk is your example, and mind you, like if Charlie Kirk is your example, then that means it's easy for the left to say the same thing. Because if Charlie Kirk has never came out and said attack, you could say the same thing. And the reason why you guys are saying the left is because you go online and you watch people who has like their Snapchat, their Instagram, their TikTok, and they say the most radical shit when this is one person with like 500 followers, with 200 followers, with 100 followers, and they're just making a joke, or they mean this shit but they're not gonna do shit. Y'all take that and y'all pretend it's real. When people on the right does the same fucking thing. Like, you guys are fucking dragging it.
In fact, we're not.
So you're telling
That's
me
not my claim.
You're telling me that the prioritization of hierarchies, both ethnic, both cultural, that is not a dangerous ideology. But
never said
something
that.
like BLM that
What?
says,
That's
hey, maybe
literally
we should
Charlie
take
Kirk.
back police.
Bro, this nigga's getting fried in this debate. I'm sorry. This nigga's getting fried in this debate, bro. Yes, that's exactly what you said. You're using Charlie Kirk as an example of the right not being violent. And then he tells you that isn't the thing, if spewing hate isn't not bad, he's like, that's not what I'm saying. Yes, exactly what you're saying. That's what Charlie Kirk did. He's walking you, bruh.
Violence, maybe you should have accountability for people who are in charge of certain aspects of our nation. Committing violence on citizens, those are absolutely completely different ideologies. And the fact that you're saying
they are
it is more
different.
motivating for violence, that the left wing is encouraging people to take those that are committing violence accountable,
In the
that
last 10
absolutely
years,
is not more.
there have been over 465 incidents of left-motivated political violence.
No credible standardized data set substantiates over 465 incidents of Democrat-aligned or mainstream left political violence in the past decade. Reference, yeah, I know that was bullshit. Most of the examples he's using are the most recent shit. Why? Because niggas can't think back 10 years. Most of the examples are the most recent shit. Because you know what the fuck he's talking about. Nigga said over 400. First of all, I've seen some of these datas, and they don't even put it towards Democrats or Republicans. It's literally left or right, or even the extreme left and extreme right. But they don't even say, and they'll say politically motivated, but just because a political party is a political party doesn't mean that it's a political motivation. You fucking idiot. I'm sorry. It's just like, first of all, we know that Democrats are failing to even get the far left people. This is why, one of the reasons why, I'm not saying that's the main reason, there's a main reason, but one of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost is because a lot of the far left people who didn't like what's happening with Gaza and how Israel is handling it, they didn't want to vote, which makes a lot of sense, which I accept. So, how are you saying that, I don't, this is
that
getting
aligns
dumb.
with the Democratic Party, and there's been one on the Republican side, which is January 6th, which admittedly,
One. I think in this video, I named another one. One. First of all, like, in the beginning of this video, I mentioned how extreme Islamists are authoritarian, which is an extreme right? If you're not authoritarian, you're in the far extreme right. Donald Trump is a Christian nationalist, which is an extreme right. Donald Trump is like the fucking... Donald Trump is ISIS. So Christian state, he's CIS. He's a CS. Okay? I don't know if that makes fucking sense, but he's a Christian nationalist. Like, and what ISIS wants is what Donald Trump wants for Christians. I feel like that's a fair thing to
is
say.
particularly egregious. January 6th was, that's why we talk about blunt versus acute. Now, the problem is, I already know what all you're going to say. You're going to cite FBI stats and Cato, but it's not meaningful to me or any voter to tell me why white supremacists are violent, because I don't like white supremacists, nor will I vote for them. And more importantly,
but they're in the right. White supremacist is literally in the right. I don't know why. Why was this a topic? He's not making sense. He denounces white supremacists, but white supremacy isn't a far right. In fact, most of these data sets that he's probably gonna talk about, they would define white supremacy in the fucking far right. You're not making sense, my nigga. It's not even a nigga.
you bring up Nick Fuentes, he is not aligned with Republicans and he's advocated against them.
I think for somebody who
Republicans
has,
don't like him.
I think for somebody who has a political show where you talk about this stuff every day, you are completely misreading.
And this is why his argument falls apart. You say Republicans don't like him, but he met with Nick Fuentes before, which means that somewhat they aligned at one point. And Nick Fuentes' ideologies hasn't really changed, and Donald Trump's ideologies hasn't really changed. In fact, they gotten more extreme in both cases. I don't know, man.
The conversation when you're saying that those that are engaged in like civil disobedience are like
I'm not talking
Democrat.
about
We're 8 minutes in this, and I'm honestly debating if we should continue. Because this is very terrible. It's very terrible.
civil disobedience.
Voters. You're telling me
You're
that those
misframing
people
what
are
I'm saying.
canvassing for Democratic
Never
politicians,
said that.
which is
I'm
absolutely
actually,
not true.
Absolutely in favor of canvassing. I'm in favor of protesting.
I'm not saying
for
that
racial-
I'm not saying that you're against that,
So
but I'm saying
don't try and frame my
you're
argument like
calling-
I'm upset with protests, because
No.
I've defended Black Lives Matter blocking streets. I've defended left-aligned
You just said they
progressive
were-
groups like anti-capitalist.
You just said they started riots. You just said that they were like rioters. So if you defended them blocking streets, you pick and choose what's considered like, and the whole point of protest is to disrupt the establishment. A riot, like it or not, does that. I don't give a fuck what you say. But nonetheless, are you picking and choosing how to disrupt the establishment? Who the fuck are you to tell people how to disrupt the establishment? And again, most of the things that happen, I'm not saying most of the things, but most of the protests did not end in any violent way or any rioting, quote unquote. And a lot of that was initiated by right-wing people.
Groups blocking streets and environmental groups. I stand with civil disobedience, and I've defended them every single time. If you want to block a road, there's
What
a
is it that you're
tolerance.
saying
Isn't riots civil disobedience? Isn't chat? I said chat like this is fucking live. Isn't a riot civil disobedience? You say you accept civil disobedience unless it's black people being upset about something, which it wasn't a riot, by the way.
is more violent on the left? You
So,
mentioned Black Lives Matter.
Let's
You
give a few
mentioned
examples.
these
Let's
protests.
talk about the Tesla facilities being unloaded upon or shot up, right?
the only
These
example
are
he
motivated
has.
by an ideology that you will hear from Elizabeth
Only
Warren.
example
Now,
he
of course,
has.
she's not telling people to shoot anybody, but she is coming out saying Elon Musk is a dangerous threat to this country. And then you end up with...
Didn't Donald Trump did that? Like, bro, that's literally what the left and right does. Excuse me, Democrats and Republicans do. That's literally what they do. They talk shit about each other. They say that each of them are dangerous. What the fuck are you talking about? Is that what you believe? Is politicians asking for...
someone going and pulling a rifle up and shooting up a Tesla.
When you understand that the right always says politicians are not responsible for individual action.
We got
Elizabeth
ICE killing
Warren-
people, and that's Donald Trump. ICE is literally killing citizens and people who hasn't committed any crime. That's right-wing violence. I mean, any police brutality is right-wing violence to me. He claims that Democrats, well, he said in Minnesota, I guess, but I think statistically most police are right-wing or Republican-leaning, and I did the research on that before, so I'm pretty sure I'm right on that.
Saying, hey, maybe we should have the
Fact
same
check
sort
me.
of economic policies they have in Scandinavia.
Why was
that
Aaron
is not her
Danielson
encouraging, go shoot up a Tesla facility.
Why was
Where
Aaron
Donald
Dan-
Trump saying, let's hang the
Answer the
people,
question.
let's hang the people who encourage those in the military to actually fulfill their
Again,
duties. That is completely...
My claim is not that the right is completely
He's the
innocent.
leader of the Republican Party, my dude.
And I
To say that
condemn-
these are equivocable at all is
I
completely
condemn
false.
100% what Donald Trump said, calling for the
Pause.
death of those politicians.
We have to move on.
He's been condemning
Great
a
to meet
lot
you,
of
Tam.
shit
Likewise.
and has not backed none of his shit.
If you'd like to be the next debater, get to the chair in 3, 2, 1.
Santana, get your ass up, man. I'm tired of watching this shit.
What I find really interesting is the whole premise of like the Occupy Wall Street movement was to protest, right?
Indeed.
It was specifically geared towards making sure that the general public was understanding the situation at the time, which had a lot to do with anti-capitalist motives, right? And so when we're talking about who's more violent than who, we have to be very specific that the violence that is recorded in the data is not ideological violence. It's not this like rhetoric. It has to be evidentiary. So if you're going to say like, oh, Black Lives Matter, and any leftists.
I agree with what she's saying. It's like, most of these violent things is based on ideology, but it's always based on like exactly what's happening right now. If that makes sense. Whatever. I'll let you continue. I like
that
what she's
are
going with,
associated
basically.
with that are automatically violent. That's just not the case.
I didn't say that.
But that's what you're implying.
No, I'm implying that when you have riots in this country, overwhelmingly, the underlying ideology aligns with the mainstream left.
You asked him to name the riots. He's only going to say the BLM and George Floyd riots, which then you'd be like, can you explain the two difference? Like, which one, when was the BLM and when was the George Floyd riot? Because they're the same riots that he's talking about. They're the same. He knows the fuck he's talking about. He was not prepared for this debate. He's terrible.
Ideology of this country.
He makes it
But what
unwatchable.
you're saying in your prompt that you wrote is that the left is more violent than the right.
The mainstream political left commits more violence than the mainstream political right.
Right, the mainstream. And
Indeed.
what I'm trying to tell you is that the data is not showing that that is the actual evidence. If
It
you're
does,
talking,
actually.
no, it doesn't.
It does. My team has put together over 10 years
75 to
465 instances.
80% of violence, actual violence, that is being tracked as domestic terrorism comes from the right. It's white supremacist groups.
78% figure broadly supported for fatalities from U.S. domestic terrorism since 2001. Not for all incidents of violence tracks domestic terrorism research review. Right-wing extremism are responsible for roughly 75 to 80% domestic terrorism. Yes, we know this. Thank you, Jubilee. I don't know why I read all that, but thank you for letting us know that this motherfucker is a liar.
And white supremacists are not in a large political party getting voted for.
Yes, they are.
Yes, what she said.
The
They're not.
Republican Party is very largely right-wing. It is very far right.
But they're not white supremacists, nor would
Yes,
nor
they
are
are.
the
See, I disagree with her saying the Republican Party is right, as far right. A lot of Republicans, because you cannot equate Republicans as being far right, because Republicans is so big, and there's a lot of people who are Republicans for reasons, and some of them might not be as far right leaning as we see, because a lot of them are no longer MAGA, or if you're MAGA, then you're racist. But whatever. And if you were MAGA, you're no longer MAGA because he's fucking up the economy. You're still racist. You're just a broke racist, right? But nonetheless, not all Republicans are far right. I would just say that most Republicans are white supremacists. So I mean, I guess I do agree with her, right? I agree with her.
Americans voting for Republican Party because they
What do
want
you
white
think
supremacy.
"Make America Great Again" means?
I think it means making the economy improve. I think it means
Improve
building our cultural
again
institutions.
when.
Well,
According to what time? According to what time? I'll
Thank
give you
you.
that.
Great
probably
question.
the 80s because Trump's an old.
This nigga said the 80s. This nigga said the 80s. You know, the 80s started with Iran not fucking with America anymore. And then we had that terrible hostage situation. You know, the economy literally started off bad in the 80s. What the fuck are you talking about, gang? You don't know what the fuck is he talking about? What? You're talking about the time where black people didn't even have rights yet? What? The 80s, nigga. The 80s, we had the civil rights movements because black people had no rights. I think we had the second phase of women's suffrage. I said women's suffrage of women's movement, because women was not getting anything. Black women was a big part of that. Right? We had the trans community doing, I believe, their second or even third wave. I think it's their second wave. of revolutionary work. The fuck is you talking about? The 80s, nigga. This is the 80s now.
Old man.
I
would say the 90s.
seriously doubt he
90s
meant
were
the
great.
80s. He's much older than the 80s.
Well, your interpretation of Donald Trump's opinions is separate from when we see a riot.
these pants.
What is motivating the riot? When we
his
see
opinions
an
lead his
assassination.
policies, don't they?
Indeed, and
Wouldn't you
nobody,
say
no
that's
one,
what
no one
politics
here
is
is
all
making the
about?
claim that Donald Trump is innocent, nor does he not have individuals who would
But you're
engage in
attempting
violence.
to.
Yeah, but look, if you're saying Donald Trump's not innocent, and we know that Donald Trump is a Republican and he got voted in by majority Republicans, and Donald Trump says all these crazy shit, I'm saying the same shit now.
Based
Make
on
a
similar
claim
ideologies.
that his type of ideology that leads his policy is not nearly as violent as the left,
Well, how
which
many
is
riots have there been from the right?
largely anti-capitalist, which is largely anti-fascist. None of what you're saying
I don't know how many. If I did the research, I would have told you.
makes any sense. It sounds like
It
you're
does.
honestly
If I was in his Jubilee debate, there's a good chance I would have known.
grifting a lot.
How many Republican riots have there been?
How many
I don't
Democrat
know the
riots
exact
have there been?
number.
Maybe one in
But what are
January
you
6th?
classifying
Like,
as
what
a
the
riot?
fuck is
What-
you
because
talking
if you're
about? There has never
saying-
been a Democratic, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh my gosh, this nigga is dumb.
Let's say
protesting with rioting,
we're not.
that's a very different
No,
thing.
we're talking specifically about people ransacking Tesla facilities, vehicles, charging
You're
stations.
so obsessed with the Tesla thing.
Thank you.
Why don't we actually talk
I think
about?
it might be
That's all
because
you
I mean, I
talking
someone
don't know
took
if
a
Musk,
rifle and
I don't
started
know if
shooting up a
Musk
building.
is like investing
doesn't
in your
know.
company or
He's not
something,
ready
but
for
let's
this
like remove the
conversation.
Tesla out of it.
This is
That has
terrible.
nothing to do with what your actual prompt is saying.
no, that's
It
actually what my
sounds-
claim is.
No, it sounds a lot like
Well, then you're arguing
you
something
decided,
else.
No, you're arguing something else because it
I am
sounds
arguing
like you
something
went
else
from
from you.
somebody who was doing really important work in Occupy Wall Street to then
Which was what?
grifting all the way to defending
the important
far-right
work?
people. That's crazy.
What was the important work?
What important work?
You said I was doing
in terms
impor-
of Occupy Wall Street,
Yes.
I think, in terms of that movement, I thought
I'm hitting my head right now. I'm hitting my head right now. No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. Don't hurt yourself, guys. That was a terrible joke. Like, it was more of trying to say, like, I'm that frustrated that I'm hitting my head. But people can interpret that very wrong, and I can see how. I'm not hitting my head. Don't do that. Don't hurt yourself.
it was it was one of the first times in our generation that we were able to see an actual organization against capitalism.
Can I ask you how old you are?
No, you cannot ask me how
Were
old I
you
am.
political?
Whoa, what's that saying, you never ask a woman her age? Why are you asking about her age, gang? Whatever.
Politically
I don't
active
like
during
him
Occupy Wall
already.
Street?
Yes, I was.
Obviously.
Did you follow the news about me during Occupy Wall Street?
Not specifically.
And the news was that Occupy denounced the violence. I had filmed leftists deflating police tires who physically attacked me, and I was attacked by a masked individual smacking my camera out of his hand.
So
Occupy
this is a
Wall
personal
Street
vendetta for you
then
because
gave
a
me
single
indeed.
person
If
or
you're
a
if
small
you're getting
group of
emotional about
people-
this and you don't want to have an
I'm
argument,
not
that's
gonna-
fine.
Do I look emotional?
You're getting emotional.
You do,
You're talking about,
because
you're making
you don't know what happened during
soliloquies
Occupy,
and
and your argument
anecdotes.
is off because you don't.
This honestly sounds like
Okay,
you have
pause,
a personal vendetta
pause.
from your history
an
that
argument.
has
Pause here.
absolutely nothing with what your
an
actual
argument.
prompt
You have to
is, which
pause it
is
here.
Not an
around
argument.
You have
far-right
to
people
pause.
being much more violent
Paris.
than the left.
We have to
She
pause.
not. Paris is like, stop this shit now, nigga. Separate. I said we're done. Look at her. Stop fucking playing with her. She said pause. You pause.
Love the passion, but pause.
Sorry.
All right. If you'd like to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2,
Please.
1.
Well, first of all, that nigga got up. Everybody sat down.
You got it. Nice to meet you.
That nigga got up. Everybody sat down. It's the time of the GOAT. I'm not gonna lie. That was GOAT shit.
I think we should just get to the heart of it. Donald Trump is a fascist. He has Nazis in his administration. His entire messaging was resonating with Nazis from the very beginning.
I agree. Again, I would like to replace Nazis with Christian nationalists because that's more it compares them a lot better than you can compare them to Nazis, but call them Nazis. I feel like that's a way for them to wiggle the way out of there, because Nazi's a buzzword. Nazi's a buzzword that no one wants to be associated with. So when you say Nazi, you can't, again, I have no problem you using it. I think Christian nationalist is just a proper term of what you're trying to say. You can say that Christian nationalists are like Nazis, so you guys are like Nazis, but whatever.
Donald Trump, when rallying for 2024, had a massive rally in Madison Square Garden. What was the significance of that rally?
You tell me.
Yeah, it's the same place, same date as the Nazis in the 1940s.
Bro, Santana a goat, bro. Santana a goat. I didn't know that. Santana a goat. I'm telling you, man, we think like a gangster.
Donald Trump said that immigrants are poisoning the blood of America and their environment. Who also said that?
You tell me.
Hitler. Literally. Donald Trump has openly said things as dog whistles. So you may say that it's not mainstream, but the entire ideology of the right speaks to those people.
Let me ask you, what do you mean by fascist?
Far-right, authoritarian, ultra-nationalistic, 14 tenets of fascism, all that.
But there's a specific definition of fascist. Do you just mean that he's an authoritarian?
Like, honestly, Donald Trump is a fascist, but you could say he's definitely authoritarian. Like, this nigga, like, and that's why I say, like, he bleeds. Like, that's what you gotta say. He's a white supremacist. He's definitely a white supremacist. But even if you don't have to go that route, you could say he's a Christian nationalist. He's not only attacking trans people. He's attacking minorities. He's attacking immigrants. He's literally, and he's attacking the working class people. He does not care about none of this shit. But this is what gets me angry, because what we need to understand is that Donald Trump is not just the end all be all for all this shit. When Donald Trump is gone, it continues, even with the Democrats at some point. But I just hope people understand that this conversation should be more than just Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is a good conversation starter when we talk about this.
No, I mean that he meets all 14 tenets of fascism.
Which is what?
You want to go through all 14 points?
I don't. I'm trying to understand your argument. But so my point largely is we see people say Trump is a fascist, but there's, you know, if you go to an academic and you look at fascism, say Italy, there's a common argument that you have the merger of corporation and state as the defining element of what fascism is.
There's different forms of fascism.
There is different, but when you're talking about, that's what Donald Trump is doing. If you're even using that definition, that's literally what Donald Trump is doing. We're literally seeing Donald Trump. First of all, Donald Trump has corporations, and he's literally using he's literally gaining money off of America. He's literally making corporations trying to do things for him. Like, what are you talking about? Like, the Trump pregnancy check, right? If you get pregnant during Donald Trump's presidency, you get $1,000, and that was funded by corporations. What the fuck are you talking about? So, I mean, that nigga is fascist. He's definitely an authoritarian, because he's trying to take a whole bunch of power away. And one of the things that I think he's gearing on doing is he's going to try to do the, I forgot the term. This is when he gets to control the fundings of things. And I think it started with a P. I can't remember. Whatever. If I remember, I'll let you guys know. But this nigga don't know.
Well, and that's the point. That's why I asked.
The actual premise is the authoritarian. Donald Trump is absolutely a fascist. He's, like I said, he has Nazis in his administration. I think we're shifting... Pete Hegseth.
How is Hegseth
He literally has a proud Nazi tattoo on his chest.
He does not.
Stephen Miller is absolutely a Nazi.
Bro, Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller are definitely white, Nazi adjacent. They're definitely white supremacists, Christian nationalists. That's why I saying Christian nationalism. Christian nationalist is a better term of saying than Nazis, and say they're Nazi adjacent, they're Nazi-like. But I would definitely say those two are good examples of Christian nationalist men. First of all, Pete Hegseth started the Iran war with a prayer, and then he also is spewing out shit talking about that this is a religious war. Stephen Miller is literally being compared to Hitler's secretary of propaganda, the guy who pushes propaganda. I can't remember that boy. I almost said Bolshevik. That's not his fucking name. But I can't remember that bastard's name. But he actually died a day after Hitler. He committed suicide himself. But yeah, like, what are you talking about? They're definitely Nazi adjacent.
Stephen Miller
does not have a Nazi tattoo on his chest.
Yeah.
No, he does not.
I don't know if that's
He has
true,
a Catholic
but
cross on
I
his
believe
chest.
it.
All right, cool.
I mean, guys, look, I went to Catholic school when I was little. I left in fifth grade.
So,
Pete Hegseth is not a Nazi.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Catholic school. Why does Catholic school have to do anything with Pete Hegseth? Because, like I said, Christian nationalist, nigga. I'm telling y'all, boy.
Question for you. when Donald Trump and his administration specifically actually implement policies that go at the heart of what Nazis want,
Which
right?
is?
Targeting.
Which is what?
The first group of people they target was the transgender community. Same things in Nazi. The actual Nazis specifically targeted people that weren't like them. There's been a persistent and consistent attack on undocumented immigrants, black people, women, anyone that's not a straight white male in America.
My principal claim is not that Donald Trump is innocent, nor perfect, nor...
Holy fuck, bro. I'm about to walk out. I'm about to walk out before he walks out. Guys, like the rumor was he walked out. Nigga, I walked out. I walked out. This nigga's terrible, bro.
Good. My claim is that when you...
My thing is, like, you would have had an easier, like, honestly, bro, if I was Tim Pool, I would have came out here already basically saying, like, Donald Trump is terrible. Like, the thing is, his topic up there is fucking stupid. How you gonna be a moderate and say this stupid shit? How you gonna be a moderate and say this stupid shit with the facts being out there? You're not a moderate, nigga. You're a right center, nigga. Nigga, you're a right click, nigga.
look at street level violence, domestic terror, etc., you'll find more violence coming from the mainstream left as opposed to the mainstream right.
Sure.
I do think it's fair to point out white supremacists are violent. They do evil and horrible things.
Yeah, I wanted to get
and we
to
all
that.
we all condemn that.
The white supremacists are a part of the mainstream right.
But they're not.
They literally are.
There's no circumstance.
I mean, you can make the argument that they're not. I believe they are. I believe Santana is right that they are, but they're definitely part of the right. And they're definitely part of the Republicans. Maybe you can make the argument that Republicans, maybe they're not voted into Republican, but they vote for Republicans. Like, I think that's the main argument that people have to make, that, like, you don't have to be a white supremacist to join the Republican Party. You can vote for Republicans and be a white supremacist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And
I'm
so
not
you did
pause
on
it here.
TV.
Thank you. You can return to your seat. You've been voted out.
Nice meeting you.
I'm over this shit. This shit was terrible. Tim Pool sucks. Matter of fact, I'm about to walk out this bitch before he does. Actually, I am going to walk out this bitch before he does. This shit was ass. He went through 3 people, and I swear all 3 waxed his ass. This man did nothing right. Let me look at the camera when I say this. I'm very pissed that I watched this Jubilee. Maybe one day I'll join the Jubilee conversation. Maybe one day, I don't know. I attempted a few times before. I haven't attempted recently, but I'll probably try again. But Tim Pool fucking sucks, dog. Tim Pool, you suck. You suck, dog. I'm so serious, you suck. Great job, Santana. First one did great. Second one, I'm sorry that you didn't get the actual conversation you wanted because he was like on his own nuts. But other than that, I'm sorry, guys, that we didn't see Tim Pool walk away. I had to end it here. I walked away before Tim Pool. I should walk away and have like my seat be the only thing you see like him. I think that's what happened. But I'm actually comfortable in this seat, and I don't want to leave this seat. So I'm just going to end this here. But before I do, guys, thank you again for watching this episode of my reaction. I'm sorry that we didn't get through it. If you want me to go through these videos for real, just put in the comments like, yo, go through this shit, motherfucker. Because it's 1 hour and 40 minutes, and we only went through 17 minutes. Yeah, sorry, guys. It was just a terrible video. Maybe I'll find better videos. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure you show love in all my other social medias. Make sure you drink some water. Get the help that you need. And... be safe. Peace.